Welcome to another weekend here on the platform. It's a tradition to examine developments in the polity, and today's program is no different. My name is Sanwo-Olu. Just 5 weeks to the general election, political parties and their candidates are perfecting strategies to ensure victory at the polls. A sitting APC governor is openly frolicking with his anointed candidate in an opposing party, and he is trying really hard to co-opt the president into his plan. Also, how is Nigeria faring in its war on terror? Is the military's recent victory in Baga and neighboring towns an indication that we are on the right track? Can the military sustain the onslaught against the daredevil radicals? I'm also introducing new segments on the program, Person of the Week and Fact Check. On the Fact Check segment, I will review the political correctness of statements made by influential Nigerians and political parties, especially in this election year. He led state elders on a visit to President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. The purpose? To seek further ways of addressing the resurgence of Boko Haram attacks in Borno State. But while speaking, his emotion got the better part of him.
Your Excellency, we came with some observations and 10 specific requests for urgent presidential intervention. These observations and requests are products of discussions in the aftermath of our extraordinary security meeting held 1 week ago.
Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State is our person of the week. The dust is yet to settle on the appointment of Amina Zakari as chairperson of INEC's Coalition Center Committee. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, had alleged that she was a blood relation of the president.
We have been informed that the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, apparently in furtherance of the plots to rig the presidential election, has appointed Mrs. Amina Zakari, a blood relation of the APC candidate, President Muhammadu Buhari.
A coalition of political parties, some lawyers, and even civil society organizations have asked that she be removed from the post. Others have said she must recuse herself. Zakari's defense.
I'm not his niece, I'm not his cousin. And on this job, I've been appointed since 2010 by President Jonathan. And prior to that, I was appointed an SA to President Obasanjo. And I've done my work conscientiously over the years as a patriotic citizen of Nigeria.
Now, where does INEC stand on this matter?
Let me say categorically that she's not related to the president. She's from Jigawa State, the president is from Katsina State.
Is she your blood relation, Mr. President?
We have no blood relationship, but it's a complex Nigerian historical problem, which I wonder. I happen to be a Fulani from a Hausa controlled place. She is a Fulani from a Fulani controlled state. If that is a relative, I have accepted it.
Well, the fact is, Amina Zakari is not related to the president by blood. It might be related by marriage, and that might raise some questions about whether there is some sort of an unusual taking advantage of a relationship, but that is neither here nor there. But the woman is not a blood relation, and if you are going to deal with the president on that matter, you should get your facts right. Public affairs analyst Sanwo-Olu and Lekon Shote join me to analyze topical issues. You're welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much, sir.
We start with Ogun politics. The issue in Ogun has become very, very interesting. The big talk is with Lagos State governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Welcome to a special edition of The Platform. My guest today is none other than Babajide Olúṣọlá Sanwo-Olu, the governorship candidate for APC. Welcome to this show, sir.
Thank you very much to the platform.
To the platform. Well, my first question is, why do you want to be governor of Lagos State?
Maybe I should throw it back. Why the platform?
The platform is the extraordinary platform for ventilating political and cultural viewpoints.
For engaging all sorts.
Yes.
Why do I want to be the governor of Lagos State? I believe all Lagosians have the right for aspiration. All Nigerians at the right age have, and if they believe they have what it takes, constitutionally everybody has a right to aspire. The journey as into why I want to become governor, we can take it back 17 years ago when I had the unique opportunity of being appointed a special advisor, right, when I left the bank then. And from then, interest in public service has actually come to fore in my life, and has become a time in which I had donated very significant and very important part of my life to public service, right? And I have, over those periods, over 16 years now, gathered so much experience that I now became a lot more passionate about service, about issues that concerns people, how we can take people out of poverty, how we can ensure, that we develop, all of the strengths that we have as a state into a level in which we take a positive step in the Community of Nations or in the Community of States, as the case may be. So it's been something that I have a conversation with my family. It's been something that I converse with my friends. I see myself defending both government issues, government policies, in and out of government, right? And so people have also thrown these things that, okay, so if you have this, why don't you just go and, and I said, no, I prefer being an appointee. I don't know if I want to, but over time, with age and with the passion that you've been growing over this period, it comes to a time when, even the not so young are right behind you now. If you don't take those opportunities when it presents itself, you probably just remain in your life as a complainer rather than a doer, right? And so those are some of the things that I've seen. Is the experience, is the love that I have for my people, is the passion, and is the energy that I think I have right now that gives me the level of confidence that I can actually run the state.
In one of Shakespeare's plays, there was one character who used the expression, says, some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. What would you say about this opportunity? Would you say that it was thrust upon you, given the fact that in the APC governorship sweepstakes, many people expected that the incumbent governor was supposed to go for second term, but some matters arose and it turned out that you were picked, and it was not that you just came out and said, okay, I want to run. It was like, okay, people said, okay, the party said you were going to take it. It is a sense that this came suddenly to you.
Well, you are right with the third allusion that, in Shakespeare, people have trust, greatness, trust upon you. Yeah. It also could be that people have been watching me. They've been watching the kind of person that I've grown up to be, the kind of responsibilities that I've had to take and how I've been able to disperse those responsibilities. It could be that people have also been watching my journey, right, in life and see how I've related with people, what had been, how I've managed human and capital resources that have come to my disposal, that has come to me, right? It could also be my general frame of mind, my passion for Lagos. It could be a bit of everything, that has culminated into this. But more importantly, I also believe that God has a hand in all of the things that happens to man. I'm a very deep spiritual person, right? And I converse a lot, with faith to guide one's thought, right? In life, sometimes it's not all of the things that you wish for, right, comes to future for various reasons, just so that God is protecting you from other wrong devices. So I have actually gotten to that stage where I believe even internally I've gotten a closure to believe that this is what I should be doing at this point in time. So we could call it, right, the very millions of APC members that have bestowed this trust in me, right? You could call it the leadership of the party that also have watched me and believe that at this point in time, I can actually carry the flag of the party, to high levels. And I also believe that God also, fortuitously, also have a belief in the sense that I actually can also listen to His word and do the right things for our people. So I think it's a combination of all of this that is making me sit in this position. And I feel very humbled. To be honest with you, it's such an exalted and a very humbling position, right? And it demands a lot of humility. It demands a lot of respect, and it demands a lot of energy, and I believe that I have psychologically prepared myself over the time for this. And I imagine that I'm going to do a damn good job of it, if I'm the one even saying it.
What is it about you that you think will be different from, say, a Tinubu, a Fashola, an Ambode, for instance? Every individual brings something of his own essence into governance.
Thank you.
What is it that Sanwo-Olu wants to bring in that they'll say this is
it will be. I'm a lover of people. I'm a people person. So that the growth and aspiration of the development of human beings is critical to me. I like to see that we all talk it, that our greatest asset are people, but I action it. I put it to test, and I develop and redevelop people. That's one. Secondly, I've also, over those years, had the unique opportunity of having worked extensively in the public sector and also in the private sector. I just didn't drop, right? So I believe the combination of my expertise will bring some freshness to governance, will bring some freshness to how both the private sector and the public sector will react and reflect in government, right? And I've said so before that I will go to run what I honestly term an inclusive government, where access will be on denial to people, right? And I will work with, the ability to listen to all and sundry, right? Without wasting my time, right? But I will also be very critical about decision making. Time is of essence, right? I will be very nimble. I will be fast and audacious in decision making. They say that leadership, they fail sometimes, not because they take wrong decisions, but because they take no decisions at all. I will take decisions. I'll take tough and hard decisions, but I'll be decisions that are thought through, that I believe will do the greatest good for the greatest number, that will improve the quality of life of our people, and will take our states, to the heights that we've never seen before.
When we talk about, in Lagos, we always talk about a master plan. And one of the problems that has been associated with the incumbent governor is that they probably derail from the master plan. You have come up with your own program. It's called Theme, and so on. How does that integrate into the master plan?
Well, there are nice ways, there are nice phrases that have been used, I know politics is always something that is very interesting. It depends on which side you are sitting. I've had the opportunity of working with 2 governors, in fact, with the current one, making 3 governors in all. And we have developed, with all the 3 governors, yes, and we have developed blueprints at different times, And blueprints, they are never static. They're a moving document, right? So you've seen us develop LACI documents. You've seen us develop, when we were working with the MTEF documentation, that rolls, budgetary provisions and plans and programs of government into a 3 to a 5 year plan, right? From a short term to a medium term to a long term, such that you can begin to foresee what are your plans for the next 2-3 years. It can also aid budgetary processes and see that when you start projects, you also complete them. Those are some of the bedrock, those are the foundations that has been laid. So when you talk of a master plan, they're just documents that look at what sector of the economy you're meant to be looking at various times, right? And so what we've designed is we've looked at all of the various documents that have been prepared. The embedded document, I was Commissioner for Economic Planning at some point. So we used to do what we call an Egbeti Summit, which was a yearly summit where we engage the private sector. We look at all of the places where we are, even as government, and we come up with blueprints that can help us. We've done LACIT document before. We've prepared a lot of MTF, and MTFF document that people have used to also manage budgetary process. We've looked at all of that, and we've looked at also what the current government is doing. Is a bridge of all of that. I would believe that at this point in time, critical things that is important to Lagosians have been encapsulated in the project team that we've created, so that we're not just about a lot of things without doing anything, but we're a lot of things that we can count with our fingertips and we can be measured. We will not only be accountable, we'll be measurable, right? And we know that technology, for example, has bring about, where tracking and trapping can happen, even in government, right? People can actually monitor you systematically, and that's what we've put up this frame. So in some essence, I don't use those big master plan, but what we've done is we've taken bits and pieces of all of the economic document that has evolved in the last 19 years, right? And we've simulated it to what we call project theme, and we've said that this is what we believe will be critical, will be best for Lagosians at this point in time.
Well, one of the questions people have always asked when you have been talking about access is that, okay, you're going to run an inclusive government, but how do you distinguish between access and relevance within those people who want access? Because the sense is that there are a lot of party people who want access, and you can't give everybody access or else you run a chaotic government. So how do you temporize and maintain a sort of balance?
Thank you. When we say access, it doesn't have to be me. I'm not going to be taking 35 courtesy calls a day or picking 600 phone calls. That's not the access. It's technology access. It's been so done very efficiently in other jurisdictions, right? We're going to give the citizens a platform to be able to access us. So access meaning that you have an idea, you have an observation, you have a critique, you have a query, you must have a place in which you post it. And we must give you ability to be able to get response. Response that it is work in progress, response that we've looked at the issue and we're dealing with it, response that we cannot deal with it now, we'll deal with it next year. That's the kind of access we're talking about. It's not that I want to go to every, event or every ceremony that is in town. That's not the kind of access. But it is in terms of people that have quality contribution, ideas, issues, observations, criticism that they want to pass on to government, right? And they don't know how or where to go about it. It's that kind of a tech platform that will be. Almost everybody has a phone these days, right? So that's the kind of platform that we'll be using. Almost everybody have access to internet. That's the kind of platform that we're talking about, and that's what is going to create the access and inclusiveness. Because we're going to be using, you're a communication expert, we're going to be using a two-way tool, right? So that communication does not only come to us, we get, relevant feedback to the person, right? Time-shortly, to be able to say to the person that we've listened to you, we cannot do this now, or we're in the process of doing it, or we have done it before. And these are the steps we need to. So that's the kind of access that we're talking about.
Now, people have asked the question. Tinubu had a female deputy governor. Fashola had a female deputy governor. Somebody had a female deputy governor. Why are you having a male deputy governor?
Well, just to also note the observation that Tinubu actually had a male deputy governor in his second term, and also towards the end of his first term. Yeah. So it's not all been.
Tinubu's one was accidental because there was a clash.
Well, but there was a subsequent re-election in which a deputy governor was a male, and they were jointly got the ticket. Yeah. But I think, Sam, I think it's a case of not being emotional about gender, but to be honest with you, a female can also actually be sitting here tomorrow and you'll be interviewing a female governorship candidate of our party in a time not too far from now. I think it's just a case of what are the options we have on the table, who does the best shoe fit right now, given all of these several jobs that we need to do, right? What skills do we need to put to complement both the governor and the deputy governor to ensure that we hold our hands and, you know, you people are also, when I say you people, with all due respect to your, you know, you always be the one that always criticize politicians and say that, they always bring people that, and they think that one person is stronger than the other or something. Okay, so now we have two strong people, let's go for it, right? But I mean, like I said, I honestly, I mean, would have a whole lot of engagement from my female colleagues, you know, on the entire cabinet, on our structure. Right, but I believe the party also believe rightly so that at this point in time, right, we need to put all our best foot forward, right? So it's purely just a case of competence at this point in time. And like I said, a woman at some point, I'm sure, will be sitting here too, you know, as a governorship candidate, you know, and rightly so, to govern the state.
One of your opponents, Jimmy Agbaje, has raked up an ethnic profile to the whole candidature, and saying that your party has often been seen as against our fellow citizens from the Southeast. And I'm sure you gave a response to him. And what's your take about this issue?
There's, you know, my brother, there's really no issue. You know, I think it's just someone or people that lack vision. They lack, you know, ideas into what the real job is. The real job, you know, for Lagosians is about what are the programs, what are the issues of discussion that you want to bring about, right? You've seen it. I'm a titled chief in Igbo land. You know, I don't know.
Really?
Oh yes. Just 2 weeks ago, I was given a big chieftaincy title by a combination of all the Azes in Lagos. Over 73 of them, Eze Chukwu Meridi or something, they won.
Yeah,
you know, meaning
it's
that
always
I'm
one.
Yes, I'm the first. Yes, yes,
The
yes.
first, yeah.
You know, meaning that it's God's chosen. You know, and it was a massive, elaborate ceremony at the national stadium. You know, so I had all my Igbo brothers and sisters, you know, say to me that they believe in me. They see the sincerity and the genuineness, you know, that I bring to the table. And I've had, and I still continue to have great brothers and sisters, great friends that are from the eastern part of the country, and they are major contributors of this economy. And you also have read that they said that at some point in time, and I said that, I mean, you know, so there is no sentiments around those. Those are just little talks to whip up unnecessary. Let's talk issues. Let's talk what are the things that require. You know, so let's look at it. So you go to the market and you buy, you know, a meat. Do you ask if it's an Igbo meat or a Yoruba meat or an Hausa meat? You just want to cook. Yes. You know, a meat, nobody. You know, when you're in the petrol station, you don't ask who is your petrol attendant. So there's no base in this 21st century. We're picking up sentiments as into
the Naira note doesn't say one belongs to one.
It doesn't even show who you collected the last 1,000 Naira note from. You know, so.
Now, one of the issues in Lagos is the fact that it's an urban sprawl, it's a big economy and all of that. You've been involved in part of the efforts at economic engineering. Yet, Lagos still has a huge problem with traffic, with also getting goods in and out of our ports and so on and so forth. Now, it's one thing to have economic engineering, it's another thing to make life easy for people, especially in the areas of transportation. Are there innovative ways that can really reduce this problem? Because it seems that these things are getting more and more as the city is getting bigger and bigger.
Well, thank you very much, Sam. You know, it's not peculiar to Lagos alone. All urban mega cities have some of, you know, the challenges we have. But the issues, how well do you quickly solve your own issue? How well do you plan? You know, how well do you front load those issues so that you can proactively react when it happens? You know, the first T on my project team is actually traffic management and transportation. And that's how important it is to us. That's how germane we've seen. That's how we're looking at it so frontally. And part of the things that we've realized, even while on the campaign trail, we've discovered over 53 or 57, where it's still work in progress, traffic gridlocks in Lagos. And each one of these traffic gridlocks have peculiar issues that, gridlock number 7 doesn't necessarily have to have the same metrics with gridlock number 27, right? So we're studying each and every one of them, right? And we're thinking of solutions that can put permanent, resolutions to them. But some, like we've seen, some could have low-hanging solutions. It could be as easy as, like I've said in some other fora, reducing the roundabouts, the massive roundabouts all around the city, reducing the roundabouts in some localities, in some areas, right? In some areas, it could just be introduction of traffic lights. And that's some of the things that's causing the gridlock. Yes, introduction of traffic light. In some areas, it could be just introduction of what I would call a slip road or a lay-by, because people are making a right or a left turn, right? And there's actually no access for them, and the straight road is free, but you cannot make it. So some of the lay-by or setback or need, we just need to widen it up so that people that need to make a turn can make the turn. But more importantly, to solve the traffic is also to do a lot of advocacy. A lot of, information needs to go around. We need to put a lot of road furnitures on the streets, directional sign, lane marking, and all of those details. And now we need to do a lot of advocacy. Preaching and telling people, how to behave. You are not the only road users, how to respect other road users, right? How to ensure that patients sometimes, you can solve a lot of these hiccups and bottlenecks, just by mere 30 seconds, 45 seconds patient, right? That's another one. Another one is to look at, some other corridors where you have huge number of petrol stations and you have a huge number of eateries, right? Each and every of the buildings you see in those places, everyone is like a traffic warning, stopping roads, stopping vehicle at, at every 1 minute and just breaking the flow of traffic. So what we've seen in some areas, we're going to be doing some of the things we've seen done in developed nations, where we'll be marking double yellow lines, single yellow lines, and we need to be communicating what those things mean. Some of those yellow lines means that you cannot just make a U-turn on the road. You need to get to a turning, off the main road, and you go and turn in a slip road and come back again. But it's a lot of education that comes to it, because you are going on a road that is smooth, and you want to turn to your house, and you just apply the brakes, and 20 cars they've applied the same. Little things like that are part of the things that are brought about, the traffic issue. But more importantly, for a mega city like ours, and that's why we need to go to transportation, we need to have means of moving people, large mass movement of people. So that's why we must ensure that we quickly complete the rail project we're doing. We fast-track development and new investment in water transportation, right? And we continue to put new investment in road transportation. All of the three of them needs to work together at some point in time. And that's what is going to encourage, people dropping, their vehicles. Because what you see, Steve, you can do a sample. A lot of people are single person in a car every morning, right? So it's concept of pulling.
Carpooling, yeah.
We need to do it. And that's what the rail does. That's what the waterways do. It's pulling, right? Where a single vehicle takes about 20, 30 people as against 20 different vehicles, right? So it's a combination of all of that, right? Lagosians need to be a bit patient with us, but we are facing and we're looking at the front end. And we're doing the study. I've been to all the toll plazas we've around. I've been there personally to see what is going wrong. I've been to the waterways, right? I'm taking another trip there next week to see what is going on there, right? So we're not just talking about it in our office. We're actually going to the streets, and we're changing, and we're doing on-the-spot assessment. And I dare say, if you permit me, that part of the innovation, even when I was in government, right, and we went out and we were able to solve it, was the underpass in front of Muson Center. Years back, people used to, when you come down, used to go in front of Nitel to go and turn to go to Victoria Island. But I was one that brought up the idea then. I said that let's go try it. Underpass that just takes you to. Those are the kind of solutions that can
ease off
immediately. It just eases. So we need to begin to look for little solutions like that. So we're going around the city to look for places where we can have a shortcut, we can break, you know, the eyes. And like I said, we also need to talk to ourselves. So we'll do a lot of advocacy, and I'm sure you will also help us.
What of Apapa?
You know, it's a big one. It's a big one, Sam, and I'm not about just, you know, it's an issue that both ourselves and the federal government need to sit down and put a solution to this permanently. And just to mention to you, I've seek to meet with the Controller of Works for Lagos State. I've actually put a call to him. I'm meeting with him next week. You know, these bridges cannot carry these dead loads that are sitting on it on a day-to-day basis, right? So we need to have the conversation with them. How do we need to get these things out? I'm aware that the state government has identified, you know, a piece of land. I don't know how quickly we can get that, you know, get that going, to be available where the trailers can move, you know, to a location like that. But I'm also aware that there's a new concessionaire. I mean, well, maybe not new, but I hear that all the places where they used to park and the port, they've closed down the place. They're not allowing them to park there again. Yeah. We need to ask, what are the questions? Ask MP, what happened? Is it because they're doing the road that they cannot allow them to park inside the port again? All these trailers were somewhere before. Sam, they were somewhere with it 2-3 years ago. How did they just all of a sudden, you know, appear? You know, and so I'm taking the conversation to them. Let's sit with MPA. Let's sit with the Federal Controller of Works, because it's not only a Lagos State issue. It's a federal. These are all federal bridges, right? And they cannot fold their arms, you know, and just not do anything. But I know my citizens are suffering. Lagosians are the ones that are, you know, in the lower side of it. And there are some companies, you know, that will see that they're also involved. So all of us needs to roll off as it. But I'm aware that they said they've started, you know, reconstruction of the road, but for how long? Yes. How quickly can that, you know, be done so that we can bring immediate relief, you know, for our people?
Also, many people talk about is the fact that a lot of these trucks that are in town, they have no definite staying period where their activities are needed in the port. So they just need to have some kind of arrangement where if you don't have any business within the next 2 weeks, there's no reason why you should be in this.
Those are the kind of conversations we need to have. But, you know, they're always very quick to also say that they're going to join with no paying and they're going to go on strike, you know all those soft issues. Yeah. So instead of just making a blanket decision, I think we need to let's sit together and understand what are their own issues, what are their concerns, and say that, you know, we cannot turn to a lawless set of people. You know, we just have to be able to solve, because it has a lot of security issues, it has a lot of health issues, you know, it has a lot of environmental challenges, and people's life are dependent on this. So we need to have very hard conversations with them, and right where we're even still on this campaign trail, we will continue to have that engagement with them. Right? I don't have all of the powers right yet, but at least we can open up conversation, which we have started, you know, with them.
What of rural Lagos? People say it's still a lot. I mean, Lagos now is one of the fastest growing metropolis in the world, with people trooping in virtually every minute, not just to visit, but to stay. Yeah, so it means that it throws into relief the importance of rural Lagos. There's still a lot of work to be done in rural Lagos. Infrastructure, housing, and all of that. How does theme accommodate this?
Well, it does actually, and I say that, you know, there's not a lot of rural as in rural in Lagos, you know, because what that means is that you can go and get a land cheap anywhere. No, everybody is wising up. You know, Lagos size is just less than a percentage of this country, right? And you know that every part of the state is important. In fact, it's becoming a global mega city, and is sprawling and is developing up into Ogun State and all of it. So part of the things that we intend to do, right, is to be able to open up new corridors, open up new development zones, right, in the so-called rural, you know, and open up opportunities. Industries must be able to go far down into Odogion. They must be able to go to Igbogbo. They must be able to go to, you know, further down to areas like Ishiwo and all of it. They must be able to go on the Badagry corridor as well, right? And before you get to the Badagry town, all of our cities, you know, all of the land on the left there, after Agbara, we must be able to open new corridors. When we open new corridors there, then development will come there in terms of industrial development, right? So our plan, right, first is to, look at what is the land template in this area, how much of it, has been committed, right? Because land is like our own derivation, and how much of it has been committed, and how can we quickly give titles, to them where they're not committed, and how can we encourage ease of doing business so that communities, can open up, businesses can go there, right? It's only when businesses go there that commerce, it will attract commerce, it will attract development, housing, and all of it, because
lifestyle.
Exactly. It goes to nowhere if there is no, because the concept about development now universally is work, live, and play. And that's what we need to imbibe. There's no point somebody, given even all of our traffic challenges, that you stay somewhere and you need to commute an hour, 2 hours to go to your place of work. If you are currently there now, we can understand. But we need to begin to develop cities that has all of that. You can walk there, you can live there, and you can do all of your recreations around there. So, and that's how developments are happening globally, everywhere in the world.
Autonomous communities.
Absolutely. And so that they can be self-sufficient and self-reliant. And that's the plan that we're putting on the table.
The issue of refuse in Lagos, in the past a year and a half, has come to great distress of many people, and that has to do with the whole issue of the restructuring of the refuse disposal program, which led to a lot of complaints and a lot of pile-up of refuse. What are you going to do with it in spite of the various agreements that it seems that the government has been committed?
Well, I mean, like you said, I don't know the details of the commercials, that have been committed, but I'll tell you something. We are not going to throw away the baby and the bathwater, right? We also understand to a very large extent what sanctity of contract should be all about. But if we see that value has not also been transferred, has not been given where it's meant to be given, we will have that conversations and we'll look at it properly. But in terms of waste and waste management itself, it's for all of us to look at the entire global chain of waste management, and take the conversations right from where it should start from, which is generation. Waste management is like power. It starts from generation, to transmission, to the management of it, which is now the waste to wealth, And so for us, one of the things we'll be talking about is how do we ensure that from your kitchen, from my kitchen, we begin to do waste sorting. We begin to do waste sorting. Blue bag for bottles, yellow bag for plastics, and maybe black bag for organic waste.
Yes.
Once we begin to do that, collection will become a lot easier. People will be interested. Absolutely, people will be interested to put investment into waste to wealth. Because studies have shown that between 25 to 30% of the cost of any waste to wealth infrastructure, right, collection or sorting usually takes a significant part of that, about 25 to 30%. So if you can help bridge that, and you have sorted from your kitchen, from your very lovely kitchen, and you have sorted from, then collection becomes, once they pick the bottle, you know that in your blue bag, everything there is bottle. Once you pick the yellow bag, you know that everything there is plastic. People that require them and need them for recycling and all of it just comes, and so advocacy is also, we need to be heavy in it, so we need to be able to talk to even our socio-cultural belief, take these conversations to our churches, to our mosques, to our community centers, to our town hall meetings, to everywhere where we need to schools, so that people will know that that is how we can begin the waste management. We don't need to take everything to transfer loading station where they will now begin to scavenge it and begin to spread it around before it gets to the dump site. And we need to now try and develop what we call a proper sanitary landfill site. A proper sanitary landfill site, that can deal with issues around combustions and rest, and will not begin to see fumes and all of it. So we treat the landfill site very well. So that is the whole value chain of waste management. So we must encourage waste collectors in terms of waste to wealth, whatever it is they want to do, turn it back to resins, turn, the bottles back and reuse them, clean them up, and the ones that are organic waste, they could be turned to fertilizer or whatever it is, and that's how you manage, your waste. So it will be all of us speaking to it, but we need to do a lot of advocacy, take it back to school. And I said to my people that let's even think through how do we even incentivize people that comply? Instead of coming up with a sanction, can we think through a program where if you, Sam, complies, we'll give you some incentive to ensure that you become, an advocate and you become, a convert, that you talk about it, that, no, this is what I'm doing, and I have started complying. It will make life a whole lot easier for us. And so you see the lawma of this world now coming out and clear up the highways, right? And I dare say that, that the PSPs are also back, so they're doing a whole lot of backlog. They are working 24/7 just so that they can clear up the backlog. But in terms of a final solution must bring about a comprehensive thought-through waste management program that must start with waste sorting. That's how we can solve it comprehensively.
Well, we can go on and on, but I have to ask this question about the land use charges, which have created a lot of ripples in the land. What are you going to do about them?
Well, I mean, it's always very easy to talk, and to say that I'm going to cut it off, I'm going to reduce it, I'm going to abolish it. No, it's a legal thing. It is something that has come up about some legal provision. We are studying it. I've looked at it, and I think that it's something that we can review positively, right? I think it's something we can review positively, right? We can continue to have positive engagement, with all of the stakeholders and players in it, such that it will become a win-win situation. And that I can assure you that we'll resolve it positively, right? I mean, I don't have exact numbers as to how it will trade out, because like I said, it's something you need to internalize and be well schooled in it. I'm not just going to throw numbers at anybody, but it will be positively resolved, and our stakeholders will be happy with the resolutions that will come out of it.
Well, viewers, you have heard the APC governorship candidate for Lagos State, Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, who has been very animated in discussion, sometimes like a wonk. So thank you very much for being on this show.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching the program today. You can catch up with my published columns and articles on my website, www.samomasheye.com. Also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @SamOmasheye. Enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, be good.